Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of We Are Legion Live. Tonight, joining us from Nashville, we have Foust. How's it going, Chris, man? Been a while. I can't hear you. I have no audio for you. Sorry, man. We're just working through a little technical difficulties right now, trying to get some mic up on Chris's end. Looks like we're going to switch to Plan B, which happens quite often during live events. Wish it would tell me who. Kind of sneaky in the background. It tells me how many live viewers I got, but it won't tell me who's the live viewers. So we got some people who like to stay quiet there in the background, and which is fine. Anonymity is fine with me. I just want to reach out and tell them thank you later on for coming out and watching the show. I'm just going to wait for Chris to come back with his on his laptop. Hopefully we can have some audio going on there. And all right, how about now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, there we go.
Right.
It's been a while since we got to chat. How you been?
Good. Staying busy. Lots of good stuff going on. Yeah, we just released a new single not too long ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I heard it. It's a banger too. We'll play it for everybody here in a little bit later on. Let me catch up here with the chat. And what all else you got going on besides got the new single releasing? Did you guys release a video to that?
Actually, the video, we're releasing a lyric video on, I believe, Tuesday.
Okay.
We'll release a lyric video, and as things are starting to kind of like reopen and kind of get back to somewhat normal, we will start being able to gather and film actual videos, actual music videos. So, and, maybe potentially play out a bit. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm glad this Nashville area is starting to open up a little bit more. Kansas City is starting to really open up now. We're dropping mask mandates and stuff around here, so hopefully things will all go well with that. People will either do their vaccine or won't do the vaccine, but they'll do the right thing when they're out, and we won't get another spike in this stupid COVID to where we have to shut things back down again. And I'm really ready to get to some live music. I'm ready to get out on the road and go see some people and do some of these shows live and on hand at some venues and catch some live music. And I can just imagine how you all feel about wanting to get out and play because you guys really need to have things to open up to get the band out there on stage to be able to play. I mean, it's not really the same if you're all kind of spread out on the stage. It kind of takes away from the sound and things like that.
Yeah, and that's, you know, especially Todd and myself. Todd's our drummer and one of my co-writers. You know, we pride ourselves on our live performance. I mean, we are high energy. We are most definitely not like shoegazing rock, you know, like we are all over the damn place. And that's, you know, it's kind of funny because Todd and I have this back and forth where Todd's a drummer, but he wants to be a front man. I'm the front man. So we have this like, look at me. No, look at me. No, look at me. So we always try and one up each other every song. So it just gets worse and worse.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Goes on.
Well, those make the show, in my opinion, they make the show better. I mean, I've seen bands from back in the day that had that kind of rivalry between members, and it actually made the live shows more enjoyable because you could tell they were trying to one up each other the whole time, and you just got the very best performance out of the whole group, and it just made things so much more amazing. Have you got?
We're like brothers, so it's it's by no means like a Chris Robinson, Rich Robinson kind of issue. We're having fun with it the entire time.
Okay, yeah, right, yeah. It's not like an Oasis thing where you got the Gallagher brothers who. But yeah, I understand. But yeah, just when you see the people actually kind of, you can call it competing on stage. You're continually trying to one up one another, and you're just putting your very best out there every show, and it's really enjoyable for the fans. And those are the great acts to follow, man. I can't wait to be able to get out and see you guys play live.
Oh, thanks, man. We're ready, and our thing is fun. You know, like we play heavy music, or we can get heavy, but we don't think that should detract from the fun, right? Like that's why I love bands like The Darkness or The Struts. They're rock bands, but they're on stage having fun, and even bands like from the early '90s, like your Alice in Chains and your Pearl Jams. Like, yeah, that was really intense music, but they were having fun on stage.
Oh yeah, I've seen those guys, most of those people in concert, and whenever they would have fun on stage, but they can drop down some pretty heavy tracks, and but even though the music's heavy, you're still having fun. Everybody's out there just having a blast with it, and it's just amazing time.
Yeah, man. And so one of our previous bands that we were in called Blackwater James, which the stuff is on Spotify if you want to hear it. It's definitely more Guns N' Roses, Black Crowes-ish, more like straight ahead rock driven stuff. You know, when we were touring, we would open for bands that were like your Saving Abels and Tantrix and stuff like that. And at the time, and I don't know if it was just where the bands were, it just felt like they were kind of on stage just tuning it in, you know, and just getting on with their day. It didn't seem like there was a lot of energy on stage. And, you know, that could have just been the nights that we were with them. I totally get that. But that really pushed us to do the opposite because we saw the crowd react, you know, like, you know, dare me to not jump off that speaker stack. Dare me, you know? Like, just, I don't know. I think rock music after like 96 lost a lot of fun. Even like I said, even the heavy stuff like Alice in Chains, that stuff was still fun to watch. That's one thing that I love about 80s metal is that you can crap on it for a lot of different reasons, but one thing you can't crap on it for is for not being fun. And
man, those shows were just
like credit that to Van Halen, because I mean they were a party band that was just full of virtuoso, and I think that those 80s metal bands carried that over and just blew it out of the water. And man, because I've seen Motley Crue 4 or 5 times and I've never left going, well, that was boring,
Yeah, you're not gonna leave a Crue show saying, "Oh yeah, that sucked." Wish they would have done more. No, man, that '80s, that whole '80s era with the hair bands and stuff like that, they were laying it down heavy, but it was all about having the party. They were destroying shit on stage, smashing guitars. Tommy's in a cage rolling around playing drums. It's just a wild time, and if you can walk away from that show and say you didn't have a good time, you weren't paying attention.
Totally. And either way, kind of like bring it all back home. That's what we want to bring. We can finally play again. Is that we just want to have fun, and hopefully the way the world's been over the last year and a half, that people are going to want to have fun too. So
absolutely. So why don't we take a minute, and I'm going to go ahead and play everybody you guys' new one, Fashion, and we'll let them just all decide for themselves. I think it's a banger.
Light it up.
Hey, Todd. Yeah! Give me some of that cowbell.
Oh, I will. This is gonna be walk in the room like we all let's wait until we know I never knew it was so out of sight. Well, I right from the front to the back of the stage. The fashion is love and this fashion is pain. The wind in this rocket will follow the sky.
Man, I'm so glad the weather's warming up, man. My neighbors are gonna be hearing that song all the time. I'm out on the patio, and I'm just gonna be jamming out. Scott Atkins, I just had on the other night. He's from a band Deep Fried in Canada that plays, and he said your vocals were banging, and loves the energy and with a great guitar on that. So
thanks, brother.
yeah,
Appreciate
and yeah, it definitely has a heavy of that 80s vibe. Mike from Three Mind Blind actually said it kind of sounded like Soundgarden in there. I could kind of see a little bit of Soundgarden in there, and yeah, the vocals, yeah, kind of does remind you of a Chris Cornell on some.
That is totally what we were going for. If Chris Cornell sang for Aerosmith, that's what we were going for.
You know, and I could totally see that, and it's just an amazing track. I really like it. Do you guys got like more for an album coming out, or is that just like a solo single for right now?
That is a solo single right now. So you'll notice that it is a departure from the Revival EP. Revival EP was very heavy, like solo string riff based kind of stuff, like Velvet Revolver. This one is a little, this group of tracks that we've got is a little more Aerosmithy, a little more, arguably Soundgardenish. But, like there's a few tracks that we recorded in this group of tracks that it's a little, arguably it gets even a little bit like late 90s, early 2000s Buck Cherry, it's just a little more partyish music, which, some people are going to hate, don't really care. It's all about, we just want to have fun.
I don't care if they hate it or not. I love it, and I can't wait to hear some more of it. To be honest with you.
Thanks, man. Well, this group of tracks that came from a session that we'll probably just release as singles. So what we want to do is, I've got my studio set up now. Finally, got all the guitars lined up in the back, but I'm in my studio right now, and we are able to now record tracks and release them. And what we would like to do is, we understand that rock music is suffering a little bit from, I would say, a lack of a younger audience, and I was on the Hook Rocks podcast not too long ago, and I talk a lot about this because that's something that, he really he's all about trying to get younger kids into rock music. And one thing that we've noticed is that kids are consuming music in a different way. It's very different the way that we consume music.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's not like you put out a record, like you put out an album and you promote that album. That's not how people consume music, because music is now content. Love it or hate it, that's the way that it is. Music is now considered content that you consume. And the more content you put out, the more you're going to get, the more you'll consume, right? And you can even see this if you look at your Spotify numbers when you release music. Sure, if you release more tracks at once, you'll get a slight bump. But what we want to do is release a single maybe every 4 weeks, every 3 to 4 weeks. And I'd love to get down to release a single every 2 weeks if I can get the workflow right. But really, ideally, we'd like to release, a track every 3 to 4 weeks, keep people on their toes. Like the next single that we're going to release, it's arguably kind of ballad-ish, has a kind of Youngblood vibe. I mean, it's like Youngblood verses with Jet choruses. I'm a huge fan.
Nice.
And so, but Youngblood is a newer artist that's, been out in the last, I don't know, 4 years, maybe 3 years. But I think if you didn't know what time his last record came out, like if you didn't know that it came out in 2020, you could say, man, that sounds like a really angsty record from the the mid 90s. I mean, it's there's guitars, there's drums, it's angsty as hell. So we're kind of taking a page and we're trying to take our music but distribute it in a way that maybe a younger audience is going to be more I don't know, more responsive.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, because I think we went over this a little bit last time we talked, is people nowadays have zero attention spans. You gotta be in their face all the time, or else they're gonna move on to something else. And if you're not releasing new music periodically like you're planning on, and dropping stuff on YouTube and TikTok, and using your social medias and keep being in their face and your name on their lips, then they're just going to move on to somebody else. So I think you got a brilliant strategy moving on with that. And I really want people to embrace this type of music again and get back, because growing up, not that I don't enjoy all other types of music, but that was the fun. That was the fun. Rock was where it was at, and it brings out, maybe it's just me growing up in that time period, but it just makes me want to have a good time no matter what I'm doing. It makes me want to start throwing back some beers, doing some crazy shit, and just having a good time, man. I was just saying, fuck it, and let's go. Let's rock out, man.
Yeah. And so we want to do that, and we want to release more video content on top of this. Yeah. So, I mean, look at, and I don't want to bring up Youngblood again, but look at Youngblood and look at Machine Gun Kelly, right?
Uh-huh.
His last record was Tickets to My Downfall. Travis Barker from Blink-182 is playing drums on the entire record. It sounds like a pop punk record from like 97 or 98. Uh-huh. So, but people are eating it up. So yep. That's the thing, is that, but the difference is that Machine Gun Kelly acts, is a rock star.
And it doesn't hurt that he has a super hot girlfriend.
Doesn't hurt. Also an incredibly talented actress, I might add.
Yes, she is.
Dude, she knocked it out of the park in, was it Jennifer's Body? That is, mm-hmm. That movie is amazing.
Yeah.
But we kind of want to take a page out of their playbook. I don't see a lot of bands out there. I see way more bands wanting to be nostalgic, which is fine. Like, you do you, but classic rock fans that only listen to classic rock, they're going to be there regardless. Don't worry about them. Like what our plan is if we can release 12 songs by the end of the year, right before Christmas comes, we're going to go take those 12 tracks. We're going to print 1,000 CDs. We're going to print 1,000 records, like vinyl, and that's it. Like that's, and like if you want a physical copy, well, there's only going to be 1,000 of them. So you're going to have to go get it that way, and everything else is going to be, we're going to embrace digital. We can complain about it all we want to, but that's how people are consuming music now. Love it, hate it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
On it, that's where your customer is. That's where your fans are, and if that's where the fans are, that's where I want to be.
I don't dispute any of that information at all. That is exactly correct. I mean, they're not going out and buying the physical copies anymore. Everything's downloaded at the touch of a button on your phone now, and that's how people are gonna consume music going forward, and you're not going to see the brick and mortar record stores as much or any anymore. I mean, there's still going to be a few of us out there who love to listen to stuff on vinyl, but most of that's going the way of the dodo, and just streaming and downloading is how it's going to be from now on. So you got
to like don't get me wrong, like I'll like hold on, like I love my vinyl, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I got my little vinyl corner over there. Yes, leather chair. My records, real quick. I got Queen. I got Chris Tetley, Guns N' Roses interview. Otis Redding. Got Metallica bootleg. Buck Owens live at Carnegie Hall, and Whitesnake. But you know, that's the thing is that's not for everybody, and I think as an artist, you shouldn't expect that. Like,
yeah,
I can still be rock and roll and still I'm just not attached to that ethos, right? Like that old school rock and roll ethos. Like my music can sound rock and roll, cool, whatever. That's another thing too, is that I'm a huge fan of Prince. And I mean, I am a huge fan of Prince.
If you like guitar, you have to be a fan of Prince.
Exceptional.
People don't realize, because of his vocals and stuff, just how incredibly talented of a guitar player that Prince actually was. He can shred with the best of them. I don't care who you put him on stage with. Yeah, he would shred with them. Yeah.
What is it? Look at that. That he did While My Guitar Gently Weeps with like every classic rock person you could ever think of on stage. He comes out in like his top hat. And just shreds it, and like he kicks everybody off the stage, like Tom Petty, was it Steve Winwood? I don't know. There's just a huge group of people that you can see them. They're all playing, and they're all, as soon as Prince starts playing, they always kind of go, "The hell?" But listen to. But the reason why I bring up Prince is that look at how he approached his career. Like he did whatever he wanted to do, but he was also like 5 steps ahead. And I mean, realistically, he was on board and understood the power of like the internet when, I mean, in like 95, you know?
Yeah.
Like he was opening like digital download stores in like the late 90s. But and most people who love Prince, and this is just me kind of going off topic, people typically stop at like Diamonds and Pearls. Right, or maybe they don't get it that far. Maybe they get to Purple Rain, but like, look at the Gold Experience. Look at was it Chaos and Disorder? And he did some records. I'm gonna pull them up real quick because I don't want to get the name wrong. And if you follow me personally on Twitter, it's Chris James GTR. I have a Prince Picks playlist, or if you go on Spotify and look for Prince Picks by Chris Foust. Like, I mean, there's so many good records that he did between like 1995 and after. Like 3121 is ridiculous. Musicology, Planet Earth. What is it? There's a lot of stuff that he did with, it was like a 3-piece. He had a girl drummer and a girl bass player, maybe another girl guitar player, but he kind of did the same thing that he did in the 80s, but updated it, you know, in like 2007, 2008. And it's absolutely incredible. Just go look at Prince's catalog after Purple Rain. It still is awesome. It didn't get as much love as Purple Rain, but it crushes it.
I think what the deal was is it was ahead of its time and wouldn't catch the mainstream at that point in time, but if you brought it now and you dusted it off, people are gonna just find it amazing. Just the amount of sheer talent that Prince had. He could do anything he wanted to and still have everybody eating out of the palm of their hands during a show. So
and like what he did when he included the price of a record in his tickets, and everyone that came to the show got a CD. I'm like, how brilliant is that? Like, if you want a top 10 record, and you're playing 30,000 people every night, you're selling 30,000 copies of your album every single night that you play.
Absolutely.
On top of what you're selling outside. But like, I just pulled up on another monitor all those records from like 20 or like from the 2004 Musicology came out. Look at all the stuff between like 2004 all the way up to like 2015. Hit and Run, Phase 1 and 2. Plectrum Electrum is amazing. Hit and Run Phase 1. No joke. That came out in 2015. Listen to that and pretend it's not Prince. So like, this could have come out yesterday, but he was like 5 years ahead. Always.
Yeah, always ahead of his time. Yeah, always one step ahead of everybody, or like you said, 5 steps ahead of everybody. And he was just a brilliant musician. And if you're just listening to the stuff that they played on the radio from Prince, you're really missing out on a lot of music.
A ton.
Yeah, a ton of great music.
Totally digressed there. But what I was getting at is that, like, I kind of want to get to the point where I can be in the moment musically. I can record that moment, from start to finish in like a week and then release it, not caring or not caring, but not focusing on like, this has to be rock music. This has to be hard rock music. Like, no, like if I want to do like a funk rock track, it's still going to sound like me. Like if you listen to Fashion and then listen to The Fountain, it's still me singing. It's still me playing guitar. And then you can pick up on that. I would hate to be in a place where, like, if I want to release an acoustic record, why the hell not?
Absolutely. Yeah. Do your music your way. Always. I think some people spend too much time worrying about getting signed by a label and don't realize what that all entails, because once you get signed by a label, you're no longer doing your music your way. You're doing semblance of your music their way.
Yeah, and
they want it done.
That's a really interesting discussion in itself, because
yeah,
there's things that happened in the 60s and 70s and arguably into the 80s, maybe 90s. But, one thing that I loved about the 60s was artist development, where an A&R could go out and spot someone and say, oh, that person has talent. Like, they might not have, like, might not be polished, but man, that person has talent. And then you work with them and you build them up, like your Aretha Franklin. Like people like that had artist development, and it took like 7 records for her to hit like solid. I mean, they had to take her out of her element, and they had to put her down at Muscle Shoals. Now they finished the majority of that record, I think, back in New York, but it took throwing her out of her element, out of that, this is what we'd always done, but they developed her. What I'm getting at is that took years for her to be huge. Now think about that today. Like, if Aretha Franklin hadn't hit gold on her first record, they would have just trashed her.
Yeah, that's what they do. I got a story about that. You may have heard of this guy by the name of George Strait.
Yeah.
He was actually signed to a 1-song deal for his first deal, and if it didn't do well, he would have been done. Well, actually, it made it to number 7, his first single, so he got another 1-song deal, and then a third 1-song deal before finally he got an extended contract. And he only came up with 88 number 1 hits in his career, but that's how they used to do those developmental contracts, where they would let people kind of grow through the industry. But now you're totally correct. You're either gold or you're out the door. We'll find someone else to take your spot. And because there's so much way to do it, people are look at Kane Brown. I mean, he became big off of the internet, doing YouTube videos, covers on YouTube, and that's just how things go today. They're using the social media to do those developmental things
You know
now
what?
they used to do on their own.
Here's the problem. Here's the one issue with that is that now the major labels and indie labels to some extent, they're relying on the artist to do all that hard work for them. So what they're essentially doing is they are empowering artists to later not need them.
And I'm saying the better off the artists are in that, because as much as it looks like such a great deal to be signed by a label, a lot of people may not know this. Do you remember Ugly Kid Joe?
Oh yeah, yeah, I do.
Had some amazing stuff in the late 80s, early 90s, where their record deal was so bad, the lead singer of Ugly Kid Joe is now a janitor because they lost so much money playing on that record deal because they got screwed by the record label. And so just be cognizant of what you're gonna sign if you're gonna sign with a record label. But enjoy being an indie band, doing stuff your way, how you want to do it, because it may not be that way after you get signed.
You know, and don't get me wrong, there are benefits
Mm-hmm.
being signed to a major label. There are benefits to being signed to an indie label, and there are benefits to being independent. There are benefits to all three, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the best thing the artist can do is arm yourself with knowledge. And if you don't know something, don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't understand this contract. I'm going to go get it reviewed by a lawyer.
Absolutely. Don't sign anything that you do not know what's going on in there, because as soon as you do, that's where they're going to have the stuff that is not going to be good for you.
You know, and think about too, like, what are your splits going to be? And but also keep in mind too, like, if you are a brand new artist and you somehow, and I mean, like, you don't have any music out, you're playing live, and you get picked up, someone like an indie label, major label, whoever wants to sign you. So to me, that is something that you might want to think about doing, because what it does, depending on, you know, your album release cycle or how many albums you sign off, you know, you have to think about the trade-off. Okay, cool. So I might not have my masters from my first 3 records, but will that get me to a point where I can tour long-term and tour with bigger artists, make more money faster long-term, you know, or is it going to be more beneficial for me to access funds some other way, record a record, keep all of that myself? You know, there's a lot of different things to weigh. You know, it's a balancing act too, and it's really hard, especially for younger artists, to kind of realize that, hey, I'm getting $100,000 advance, but my next 9 albums, you know, I get half a cent for every record sold, or I get, you know, I get a fifth of 1 stream in revenue. It doesn't matter how many millions I get, you know, the record, you know, the record label management, lawyer, marketing, whatever, they're going to take their splits. And, you know, like, it's hard to say no to something like that, you know, but every contract is different. Every agreement is different. Don't go in assuming one thing or the other. Go in and ask 1,000 questions, and, you know, arm yourself as much as you can before you go in there, you know. And I'll end that piece with this, is that I remember one time we were signing some agreements in a previous band, and because we were signing with people that were also, there were newer organizations, newer booking agents, we made sure that, hey, you're new, or, like, you know, you've only been in existence for 4 years. You are by no means CAA. You know, you're not Bobby Roberts. So with that clause, us understanding that, you know, you don't have an incredible rapport, you're still building yours, well, we're going to work in this clause in our contract that says that, hey, we'll give you 1 year of exclusivity, but if we're not happy after that 1 year, we can choose to leave. You know, like there's a lot of things to weigh out. So, and also when it comes to signing with management, production, whatever it is, you know, we got approached in Blackwater James. We got approached by one manager who will remain nameless. And he said, you know, no one's going to talk to you if you're not selling, unless you're selling 50,000 copies every album. And I'm like, if I could sell 50,000 copies of my record, I wouldn't talk to you.
Yeah, exactly.
If I could sell 50,000 copies of a record, every album, I would not have this conversation like that. So, you know, but once again, you got to weigh things out. You really got to weigh, you know, it's hard to not get excited. But you know, there are communities out there that can they can essentially do the same thing as a manager. There are communities like Twitter has been huge for us in Foust. You know, we've gotten the majority of our audience from Twitter, and you know, who would have thought, you know?
Yeah, well, it's so easy to share your music on Twitter. It's so much easier than any of the other sites to share the music, because you just drop a link and then people retweet it and send it on down the line. But I'm going to take a break here for a second, because I have kind of a big announcement, because we were talking about getting the music out and stuff like that. I've been offered a 1-hour radio spot on radioactiveradio.com out of England from 6 to 7 Central Time on Monday nights. We're going to do, I'm going to try to get my first show recorded and sent out to them so we can be on Monday night. I will let you know if I make that deadline or not. But they've given me free license to play whatever I want.
Ooh.
So I'm going to be able to play a lot more of everybody's stuff on the radio. So I may be reaching out to people to maybe do some name drop promos for yourself as well as me for the show, just to keep your name out there, and then do like say, hey, this is Chris from Foust. You're listening to the Bill on Radioactive Radio, and that way, just a little brief spots like that I can play during the show if you're interested, and hopefully we can build a good audience through that as well, and get the names out there, and people do a lot more streaming of the music. You know, I mean, I get tons through Twitter. We just went over 21K on the WeareLegion Music Legion account, and that daily stream just keeps getting better and better all the time for people who's dropping their links. So hopefully this will be another avenue where I can get people to listen to some very great indie music that we got going on.
Well, first off, man, congratulations. That is awesome.
Well, we'll see how it goes after one episode. They may just throw me right off the radio. We'll see what we can do.
Oh, that's cool, man. That is so cool. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, let us know how we can help, if we can help. You know,
absolutely. And this is Music Legion. This is Bill Metz. I'm all about the shameless plug. So anytime that I can plug somebody and you don't have to worry about it coming out of your expenses, then I'm all about it, you know. And when he told me, I mean, they're basically a rock radio station where they play a lot of indie rock music, but he told me I could play whatever I wanted. And he viewed the podcast, and he's like, yeah, you do a lot of interview stuff. How about doing a little bit less interview stuff, but more of music? And I was like, well, I can work with that. And so I'll probably be reaching out to bands to maybe do. I only got an hour, so do like brief phone interviews to be on the show and things like that. Just more promotion for you guys to get out there. And but this is the path that I wanted to take to be able to help independent artists get out there and get their music heard.
Well, thank you. Because I mean, really, like with, you know, we could not be doing what we're doing without platforms like this, you know. And I think that, people like you are like the unsung heroes of keeping rock music alive. And it's, we thank you.
No one wants to keep it alive more than I do, man. I love it. Like I said, I had Deep Fried on from Canada the other night, and you should check them out. Amazing stuff. They got a later '70s, early '80s vibe to them, and I think you would really enjoy their music.
Deep Fried. I'm putting it right there.
When you go on, if you're on Spotify, there's several Deep Frieds. I want to make sure you get the right one. It's the one with the red logo.
Yeah, give me a song. Give me what's the
Just Enough, Rhoda Bones, Love Distance.
Boom. On.
Yep, and
all right.
They got some incredible stuff. Great group of guys too. If you get a chance, go back and watch that episode. We had a blast the other night talking, and it was just a super fun time. But yeah, I want to get shows like that and get people on the radio, because there's just some incredible talent out there that just people just don't hear. And an internet radio, I mean, it might be a smaller station right now, but it's a stepping stone for me to be able to get in there. If I can get a foothold there, then that's just going to open up more doors for me and take it, because I'm not looking to change up what I do. My passion is indie music and indie artists, and helping promote them as much as I can without charging the artist. And I don't want to get away from that. And anybody that doesn't really want to work with me on that, then I'll skip that opportunity and move on to the next one. We're getting big enough to where we can do that, and soon, hopefully, I really want this show to take off as much as possible. We'll get a lot of after reviews. Me personally, I probably ought to do a better job of promoting my own stuff as I do everybody else's. But yeah, once we can get that taken off, and the radio show, if we can get that taken off, who knows, maybe we can get a TV spot somewhere, and maybe we just create a whole different channel on YouTube, to where we just put everybody's stuff together. We go back to the old days and make it like an MTV VH1 type of deal, where we do behind the musics I follow bands around and stuff when they're getting ready to do a show or whatnot, and do that. It's going to be so much easier when things open up and we can record. But the sky's the limit, and I really love helping promote you guys. I love what I do, and as long as people want to let me do what I do, then I'm always open for new opportunities to help everybody else out.
And we, once again, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but we thank you for that. We really do appreciate all the work that you do for us, and I'm sure all of the other indie artists feel the exact same way. It's funny how, last night I went and had some drinks with Todd, our drummer, and a graphic artist of mine, a friend of mine. His name is Brandon Trammell, and check out brandontrammell.com. The dude is an incredible artist. He does posters for artists. He does a lot of, he's just got hooked up with a couple of really prominent, like, Americana artists, but his artwork is incredible. We were having drinks last night, and Todd and I were like, we should just start a label. We should do it.
That is not entirely out of the ordinary. I mean, there are several people that have wanted to start their own labels and things like that. And it's easier now to do than ever, especially since the pandemic, because people have been setting up studios and stuff right in their apartments or their houses, and they got all the stuff there. I mean, we had someone on a couple weeks ago. I believe it was Godzilla Attacks Tokyo that was talking about a website that he goes to have his stuff mastered. But if you can master your own stuff, then why not do your own label? It's a lot of hard work at first, but then you also have people like me out there who promote and stuff and can do that aspect for you, or as much as we can. You obviously are going to do your own social media and things, but why not do it and take 100% of the profits instead of doing it? You're not going to get that big probably advance that you're looking for signing with a label, but
well, what got us on this thought process is that we've been approached. The Foust band has been approached, I don't know, 3 times by managers, and we didn't reach out to them; they reached out to us, and the conversation would shift to, "Oh, well, I'll have to be on a retainer," and I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" Like, this is where I do like the old school percentage mentality. Like, if you're a manager, okay, that can be anywhere from 5 to 20%. But I'm like, the only way that you get paid is if the artist gets paid.
Absolutely.
The artist gets paid is if you help them. So we kind of wanted to reintroduce that model, but from a label perspective, and but really help artists along with ourselves. We really wanted to help with marketing. Todd and myself in Blackwater James, we had to do everything on our own. So we became web designers. We became graphic designers. We became booking agents. We started our own booking agency. We became essentially a 4-person record label for our band. And, while we didn't sell thousands and thousands and thousands of records, we were able, in 2010 to get our band into Classic Rock magazine, to make, into Black Velvet. We charted in the UK. Now that came to us as a shock, and I'll be 1,000% transparent. We did not know how to handle that. I was the only person I think in the band at the time that had a passport. So we were like, what do we do? And unfortunately, we didn't have the resources to let it to push it further in the UK. But that just goes to show you that, if you're in a band, you've got 4 people or 5 people or 3 people, whatever. And that's a lot of bandwidth right there. You just have to know what to do and how to do it. And that's kind of where we wanted to help. We Todd and I, we're marketers by trade. That's what both do. Todd is a podcast host. He does video and audio editing, like podcasts. I started out in, audio production and kind of moved into web design and graphic design. But only out of necessity, because those were things that we needed. Like, hey, we need a press kit. What do we do? Well, I guess I'll learn Photoshop. I guess I'll learn Illustrator. That's the only way that we're going to do it, because we didn't have the resources to go ask someone to do it. Like, let's just do it ourselves. So we kind of wanted to take that mentality, but for other artists, right? Like, hey, if you've got a great record, come to us and let's market it. We're not going to charge you. We can set up a split or something, like a really very modest split, but do the same things for other people that we've done for us. So that's kind of where our head's at.
And that's an amazing idea, and that's another conversation that I would like to have with you, and maybe we can work something out and get into something along those lines. But we're running low, short on time, and it's getting a little late. As always, it's been a pleasure having you on. Make sure everybody out there, thank you for coming out, but go out there and stream the new Foust song, Fashion, and all the other. You're just Foust on all the streaming services, right? Not Foust Band.
Yeah, if you search for Foust, it should pop up. So.
The logo's a fist, so yeah, you'll see it, and make sure you go out and stream all their stuff. Always a great time talking to you, Chris, and I can't wait to do it again. I'm always open on the DMs and stuff like that, so hit me up, man. We need to talk a little bit more about maybe that label stuff and see if I can help any at all with that. But
yeah, let's do
please, anytime you want to come back on the show, just let me know, and we'll hit it up and keep on dropping those awesome tracks, dude.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
I guarantee you, I'll be playing that one on that first show. So hopefully we get a second show and then we'll get on there a lot more often than that. If I get picked up long term with that, I'll be reaching out for maybe you guys doing a promo spot or something like that.
Yeah, man. Just keep me posted.
To keep your name out there. But thank you again for coming out, man. Anything you want to say to the guests before you head on out?
Just thanks for listening. You can check us out on all the social media, profiles at Foust Band. We're always on Twitter and Instagram, so check us out there. And please go stream our music. We're everywhere from Spotify, Apple, or Apple Music, Bandcamp. We're everywhere. So thank you, and hope you enjoy the music.
All right, man. Well, you have a great night, and we'll see you soon, buddy.
All right.
Later. All right, yeah, everybody, please go out and stream that new song. Really enjoyed it. It's called Fashion. If you missed it earlier when I played it, and it's just a really great rock song and really gets the blood flowing. So get on out there. Thank you all again for coming out. If you're leaving, make sure you hit that like button, and if you haven't done it yet, follow the show. Make sure you turn on the notifications. Whenever we're online, and hopefully we can get this radio station. Jamie, thank you for coming out and joining. If the radio station does pick up, I'll be reaching out to you guys to do maybe a spot too for where you can do some self-promoting as well as promote the show on that. That would be really awesome, and I just look forward to it as a great opportunity to be able to get some really great acts, some more notoriety. The website, Trissette, it is radioactiveradio.com. And let me look it up real quick here to tell you where in England they are out of. If I get my Twitter here. Where are they at? On Twitter, they are JRadioactive_. But they are out of, he told me the exact location in England. See if I can find it. No. A lot of messages to go through. I can't find it right now, but it is based out of England, but it is an internet radio station, so you can log in and, like I said, it's radioactiveradio.com. Thank you for getting those shirts in the mail, and as soon as I get them, I guarantee you they'll be on the show. I'll be wearing them on the show, so thanks, Jamie. I'm all about the shameless plug for everybody, as you all know, and we're really looking for big things. This is what I was hoping for here in 2021 is to be able to continue to grow beyond imagine and get things rolling just to help you guys out so much more. So hopefully they don't kick me off the air after one show, but I think we can pull it off. And believe me, if you're watching tonight and you have some ideas of a specific song of yours that you would like played during that first, please DM it to me. Hopefully by the end of the day, tomorrow. Excuse me. That way I can get it recorded and sent out for Monday to be on the air. And if we're going to be on the air Monday, I will definitely let everybody know. It will be from 6 to 7 Central Time. So you can, for Jamie and you guys, it'll be 7 to 8 Central Time. Or 7 to 8 Eastern Time. So you all can check it out. And oh, Mike, I thought you were leaving. I'm glad you're here. That intro you gave me for this show, I was wanting to know if you were okay with me using that as the intro and closing for the radio show. Man, that'll tickle in my throat. Well, before I have a coughing fit and die. Okay, glad that we can use it, Mike. And I will let you guys know when it's going to be on. Since I'm going to have to get a drink of water or something because I'm going to die here. But we'll edit some of that stuff out. But thank you all again for coming out, and we will talk to you all later. You all have a good night.